Good morning, world. This is Al Mega, and this is a special Comic Crusaders podcast. All right, we have an awesome guest today. But first, let me highlight my compadre that's joining me today, the one and only, the random dude, Josh.
What's happening?
Woo! Good days, good days.
It is a good day, and I am excited for this special because, the sun is shining, and there's a key in why I said that.
Oh man, isn't there? We're going to be talking to a legendary writer, creator. He's done stuff for DC that you know of, Metal, of course, right? Mm-hmm. And he has a brand new project with Tony Daniel from Image Comics called Nocterra. Who am I talking about? The one and only Scott Snyder. Woo!
Hey,
what's
guys.
up, hermano? How you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. It's great to be here again. It's good to see you, Al. It's good to see you, Josh.
Likewise.
Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing such an awesome book that we're going to be talking about today, because it blew my mind. I loved it. And now I can't wait for more. This is the pull list recommendation, folks. Let me tell you. All right,
brother. Yeah, Tony made me promise to tell you when I told him I was coming on that it gets better and better. He's like very intent on letting people know that, because he feels like, we both love issue 1, but he's really in love with issue 2, 3, 4 in terms of his art. Ooh. And I feel like the story really elevates as well. So we're very excited.
Oh, Josh, I know you had a question because you had spoken to him previously, so go for it.
I did, yeah. So Scott, I had the wonderful opportunity to be a part of the press panel that you guys did
nice.
with Image Comics, and Tony was there. And I had asked a question during that, and I loved your answer, and I wanted the whole world to hear that. So with regards to Nocterra, what was it about this particular story that you and Tony were like, boom, this is what we want to do. This is the direction we want to go. What was it about Nocterra that was that aha moment for you?
Well, for us, where the story came from originally was, personal for me. As a kid, I had a pretty terrible fear of the dark, and watching my 9-year-old, our middle son, Emmett, really go through the same thing, where he serious night terrors, it gave me this idea where I was like, well, what if I do a story? Because a lot of my writing these days, I feel like is writing things that are expressions of my fears for my kids, things that I want them to be brave.
Mm-hmm.
When facing all that kind of stuff is kind of
breaking up a little.
Yeah, Scott, I think we're having a little bit of signal issues here. For those watching, sorry about that.
Very sorry, yeah. Very sorry about that. He's frozen. Let's see if I could message him. Scott, we're having huge difficulty hearing you. There you go. He should be back in a moment.
Yep.
He probably needs a quick refresh. That's all that it takes, unfortunately.
Gotta love technology, but
yeah. Well, again, he's going on wireless, via mobile, and mobile carriers aren't the best, but Nocterra is an off the hook book, man. Let me tell you. So
for those, I think we got him back. Maybe.
Let's see. Do we got him back? Boom, 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 boom.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Am I
Yeah,
right?
all right. You know what? Maybe keep the video off just in case, and because maybe that's interfering with your bandwidth.
Let me see. I can give it one more shot if you want. It looks like
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a good connection. And then
There
if
you
it,
go.
if it
Okay.
starts to get, if it gets weird, then I'll turn off the video. How about that?
Okay,
That works.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right.
so
So
I'm sorry. I was just saying, like, so for me, it was really watching my 9-year-old go through this same kind of fear of the dark. It made me feel
Mhm.
like, what if I did a story where the dark is just as scary or scarier than he imagines it to be, right? Where it's essentially any living creature that stays in this new darkness that falls over the earth for more than 10 hours unlit, it turns into a monster called a shade. So I had this idea, and I was like, you know what? It's personal, it's big and bombastic, it's got this kind of high octane horror feel. Who would be good for this one? Tony, because Tony and I had been friends all the way back since 2010, 2011, when I was on Detective Comics, he was on Batman, and then they switched us. And when they switched us, they asked us to do this crazy stuff with the Joker, where they were like, "Will you take Joker off the table for a little bit?" And we had to come up with all this stuff about him cutting off his face, and it was a lot of fun. But it was like we bonded over like this gross shit that was like, So we became good friends. We became friends then, and he was a really good, very generous with his time, and gave me a lot of advice as someone who was terrified coming onto the main title at the New 52. And so with him, I'm like, his style is like muscular and emotional and has big world building. It's like big fisted, big hearted, full throated kind of style, And so I was like, this book is perfect because instead of it being something that like defies expectation or goes against some of the stuff that you would expect from me, it leans right in. It hugs all of it, right? Because for a long time when I had DC, my feeling was like, that's where I put my biggest over-the-top kind of epic high-stakes stuff. And in my creator owns, that's where I can go to put my darker, more personal stuff. But stepping away from DC for this year, it made me feel like, you know what, I can put it all in one place. I can do one book, for myself. Now it encompasses, it slipped off the wheel. I'm not like driving or anything. That one book that does everything one spot, that has all the kind of bombast of my superhero stuff, but still has the heart and the darker personal stuff of my and so Tony was like a perfect match, man. I went to him and I was like, what do you think of this? And he was like, I got daughters that have, I want to create a heroine that's strong for them and shows them go through the darkness. Can I use some of my own family background? And this, I was like, great. And we just clicked. And it felt like, let's make this book straight. Let's make this like a direct market monster. You know what I mean? Like what we wanted was, instead of it being something that said, a lot of the books I'm doing for myself this year for Best Jacket, I'm doing things that you wouldn't expect from me, like sci-fi, noir, or historical fiction, like no monsters, there's no face chopping off stuff. So with this, it was like, instead of defying expectations, let's just lean into them and exceed them and be like, we're going straight up the middle. We're going to do, big monsters, trucks, highways, Mad Max, aliens, like that kind of a feel. And just try and write it and draw it so well that it just is like Saturday morning cartoon fun, but out of control R-rated stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Al, you got yourself muted again.
I said I see the Mad Max appeal on this bad boy. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So
I'm just turning this off so you can hear me better.
Okay,
great.
That works. So the one thing that's really kind of stood out to me as I read the book was it also kind of encompassed a lot of the maybe what's going on in the world today. And you had mentioned that previously, that this is kind of that perfect timing to push this book out. So
yeah,
I guess the next question I have then is, because of the pandemic, indie comics has really stepped it up. What is it about Image Comics that you were like, this is the publisher I want to go with? Because there's a multitude of publishers that are absolutely rocking it. What was it that about Image that you were like, again, kind of that aha, this is who I want to work with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and just so I'm clear, like you guys can hear me okay and everything, right? Just give me a thumbs up and all that if I'm.
I hear you a little bit.
A little robotic, actually.
Open a window,
really?
so long as no one's next to you.
Let me try it again.
Yeah.
Let me try.
Yeah, if you want to try it again.
I'll do it one more time.
Got it. I love technology, don't you?
Yeah, technology and these darn carriers that promise you good signals.
Yeah.
5G, huh? 5G for gross. Come on now.
But
Come on,
while we're waiting for Scott, for those of you who haven't, checked out the book, it is currently available at your LGS. Hit them up. Oh, LGS, LCS. I've been spending a lot of time in both. Whoa, boy.
TMI, brother.
Well, I know.
Excellent.
All right.
I see what's going on with the speaker and the feedback, so we got to stay quiet when he's talking.
How is it now? Is it better?
So long as we stay quiet, yes.
Yep.
So we're going to lower our volumes as you speak because I hear my voice through your speaker.
Oh, is this live right now or are we recording for later?
No, we're messing around live. It's fun because people have been wanting to see you.
Oh, I mean, it's live right now or it's recorded for later? I couldn't remember.
No, we're live. So I told her we're going live. We're on YouTube.
Oh, man, I would say I'm like 10 minutes from my house. I would go home and go on Wi-Fi. I'm sorry.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Al and I can fill in.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, great. So we'll get him back, folks, in a couple of minutes. He's going to speed home, and because it'll be much better, obviously, because this is something you guys got to see. I do want to show you guys the cover, at the very least, because it's a gorgeous book. I mean, you're getting artwork by Tony Daniel, and my man's been around for quite some time, and his artwork is just amazeballs. So here's the cover that you guys all need to be looking for right at your LCS. I mean, you need this book in your lives. Trust me. Josh, was not fibbing when he said that indie has in fact been stepping it up. I mean, everybody loves the big too. Sure, why not? But it gets expensive, if you will. Everything's events. And with indie, that's not what this is about. I mean, this particular book, for example, you're paying $3.99 cover price, and you get 40 pages. And look at that. Gorgeous. Right?
And that's just the cover. You get into the book itself, and the book is just over the top. Tony Daniel has really gone above and beyond with this. I mean, you can tell with other books when I don't want to necessarily say that their heart's totally into it. Maybe it's a combination of exhaustion and having to meet those deadlines. But where with indie books, creators are able to put it out there. And that's for both new and up and coming creators, as well as established, like Scott and Tony. And you see that not only in the artwork, but in the writing as well on this book.
Yeah, and talking about the artwork, here's an interior page. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. Look at the face shape, look at the details on the truck. The eyes. I mean, this is.
Oh yeah, every panel, every page is just. It really creates this world, and especially a world that's covered in darkness.
Yep, I just want to see, because he said that Tony is like, I can't wait till you see the rest. I mean, oh my God. That means he got into a groove, and I cannot imagine the amazing artwork we will be seeing out of this book then.
Yeah.
I mean, and if, again, Scott will repeat it, but he said he's kind of way ahead issue-wise. So, this is not Jim Lee, folks. You're going to get this book on time.
Well, and one of the other things that he had mentioned that I'll share in the press panel was, their plan with this is to keep this going as long as people are interested in the book, as long as they're buying the book and wanting more, they're going to continue to give us more of this story. So the fact that, we're just now getting issue 1. But they're already, working towards, the first story arc, going into the second and third. The sky's the limit with this. And so why not pick it up? Why not add this to your collection?
Well, and for those of you that are variant fans, I mean, there is an amazing, a jock variant. I mean, look at this. This is gorgeous. This is the jock variant to issue 1 from Image. Look at that. Oh, isn't that fire?
Oh yeah. From the variant covers to everything inside the book, it is over the top, action, monsters, trucks. I mean, who doesn't love trucks?
Okay, and I believe that this is Francis Manapul. This is another variant, for fans of that. This is also amazing looking. Oh my gosh. That looks like one of your cards, bro.
That would definitely fit for a Magic the Gathering card, hands down. Mythic rare, boom. It would work. It would work.
Again, there are several covers. Several. So this is I mean, Scott Snyder pulled out big boys here. So the other one I'm going to show you is a Greg Capullo. He did one.
I think I've seen this one. I think. Yep.
Look at that, bro. I mean, he pulled out the big guns for these variants.
The other thing that I really like about the story, and when Scott gets back on, I'll bring it up. The fact that they went with a strong female character for the lead.
Yes.
And
here's another one that we don't know who it is. Apparently, it's an unlisted artist. Can you? I'm sorry, it doesn't want to. Keep it, kiddo. Come on now, cooperate. Yeah, there you go. Look at this one. Boom.
Oh, yeah, that one. I mean, all of them. Everything that they've been putting out for this book has been absolutely fantastic.
And here goes an artist named Eric Henson. I mean, there's numerous variants for this book. This Eric Henson looks fantastic as well. Oh, that was a web P. Hold on. Don't you love that new damn format?
So much fun.
Oh, well, this was a Kickstarter as well. And there's a collected edition cover as well that I see. But that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you that last one because that was amazing looking, man. I got to find this as a regular old JPEG. Por favor. Well, here you go. Eric Henson. Henson, not Terra. See, it was this was from a comic shop called Surprise Comics. So this is their exclusive cover. So if you want this one, you're gonna have to go to Sunrise Comics.
Is it Sunrise or Surprise?
I'm sorry, Surprise.
Okay.
I'm thinking about the sun. This story has me all concerned about the sun. Eric Henson, look at that.
Love it.
And this is great. This is great. You could get that one at surprisecomics.com. Again, there's just such an array of variants for this.
Mhm.
Pretty fire. I'm digging it, and I wouldn't even know what my favorite would be. And here's a 1 in 100 ratio, black and white. This is something right up Lucas's alley. If you know who we're talking about, it's Lucas Fishina from It's Drunk in Chat. Come on, everything wants to give me a problem. Google is playing with me too much today. I'm not digging Google's energy. All files, please. Thank you. Now it won't even show up. Let me try this again, folks. Technology has been a real beat today.
You know what? It's because it's Friday. That's why.
It needs to stop right now. I didn't say this card, bro. I said keep. There it goes. Finally. Check out this 1 in 100 variant. This is the Tony Daniel cover, black and white. I love black and white artwork. So this looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, Scott will be with us momentarily. She needed to get to the crib.
Yep. We were having some slight technical issues. It may be because the sun or not.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I'm gonna blow your mind now again, bro. I mean, I can't believe this many.
Don't threaten me with a good time, man.
Check this one out. This is another great cover.
Oh.
Right? Oh my gosh. And here, oh man, no, I won't show this one. I see a number 2 cover. I see a number 3 cover. Oh my God. And Scott's comment about the what this kid is doing, Tony. Yeah, he ain't lying.
Mm-hmm.
But those covers look insane. I mean, here's another one. I really like this one. This may be the one I want to go after. This looks pretty dope. And this one right
Let's
here.
be honest, you want all of them. Oh.
Right?
Ooh.
That's another magic card right there too with that pose. The trucker.
Mm-hmm. Right? That would be perfect for an equipment that involves using the crew mechanic.
Now,
well, we're not here to talk magic. No, of course
not. And then, you know, again, this is based about the sun, and there's something going on with the sun, and I think this cover tells you everything. The blackout cover.
Oh,
look at that.
You know, okay, so this would be cool. Bring that back up. Bring that one back up. You get a copy of that, right? Have Tony Daniel just take like white and then just freehand over that. Because you know all the other blank covers are just white.
Yep.
Why not utilize this for that?
Oh, you're absolutely right. Or even just silver tone.
Yeah,
kind of hide it, have it in the shade. Ooh.
I mean, you could even still use black. So kind of like a black on black, and then just a slight hint or splash of color in there, like red, since that is kind of the overall theme.
Oh, this is gangster. This is gangster. Yeah, this is the gangster.
You'll have to excuse Al. He got a little excited.
Getting excited here. Yeah, I'm getting excited. I mean, it's wonderful artwork and covers to a fantastic story. Look at this.
Oh.
Right? She is kicking butt.
And to be honest, only in indie do you get this sort of quality of product. Again, not knocking the big two. Don't get me wrong. But I feel when creators, both writers and artists, are not confined to the continuities that they have to follow, that's where they really shine.
True. That is jolly true. Man,
yeah,
now she wants to give me a stroke today for some odd reason. There we go. I want to keep showing because I keep finding amazing covers.
Oof.
Look at that one.
You know what?
Sorry for that beast.
You know what I'm excited for is to see what cosplayers do.
Oh man, with this, this is definitely on some cosplay joint. Not just the main protagonist, but there you kind of see hints of the particular world and the state that it's in. And if you just look around surroundings, there are so many cool looking uniforms that these people wearing, or suits, if you want to call them, whatever it is, to protect themselves from this new world that's being faced. But there's a lot of good looks there, a lot. So worth it. So worth it, man. And we meet a butthead of a person in this book too. Just the comic book moves. Yeah, it moves along like a movie though. For me, in my mind, it's very cinematic. I see everything that's going on, and just the interplay between characters, and it's a wild ride. And I can't wait for Scott to come back and give even more details on the wild ride that you guys will be having here.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I like is the fact that they've put this book together, they've written it, they've done all this work, and there's no expectation of it being converted into any like a TV series or movie. That was a big thing that I remember that was talked about in the press panel, that they weren't wanting to say,
they're not pushing that narrative. Yeah.
They're not exactly. They're not going that route. Now, if this happens to blow up like I'm hoping it will, maybe down the road.
It's Scott Snyder and team with Tony Daniel. I mean, and this is, he's stepping outside the world of superheroes he's been doing, and we've been loving everything he's doing. But now we're getting a different side of Scott in this. And I mean, again, you're gonna get a great story that just keeps flowing, and you have tons of questions in this first issue. This is what that for me makes a great first issue. It doesn't answer all these things. It's not a slow burn either, because things happen in the book. But obviously, like, what's going on? Why did this happen? This first issue doesn't really explain to you, what's going on in the world yet. You just see an aftermath, if you will.
Well, it hooks you in.
Yes, like a fish.
Oh yeah, it definitely.
It got me like that. I couldn't stop. I didn't want to pause. A call was coming in, and I was like, "All right, ignore. I got to finish this first." Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I got to wait. The other thing I do want to note, typically most comic books are 20 to 23 pages. They're going on the higher end with this. I mean, the fact that you're getting 30 pages of solid writing, solid art, solid lettering.
Oh yeah.
How
do you pronounce the individual's name? Is it Tommy? I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna let Scott do that.
I'm sorry, I
he'll know.
I'm a name butcherer. This is what I do. Me and Johnny. That's why we get along, because we're name butchers. This is why our jot form, if you want to be a guest on Comic Crusaders, please let us know phonetically, especially if it's difficult, how you pronounce your name. For the love of God, please. People find it funny because again, I only put that there for folks with hard names. You know what I mean? But there's some folks that just, have the easiest name in the world, and they still try to put it out phonetically, which I find amusing when I get that.
Yeah.
Is that Riley? No.
Yeah, it is Riley. Riley.
Oh, and there goes Scott.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Okay.
Yay!
Welcome back.
Is that better?
Oh my gosh.
How was that? I ran. I'm like out of breath. I ran from my car.
Have a moment to breathe, because I just want to tell you that we've been showing off these wonderful covers from.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these covers, dude. I mean, look, I'm in love with this one right here.
I love the boss, and there's Greg, my boy.
Yeah, Greg Capullo cover. Who did this cover? Do you know?
No, I don't. It must be a retailer one. It's gorgeous though.
Okay, yeah, because they were when I looked it up, it said unknown.
we got Clayton Henry, and we got Jenny Frisson coming up too. That one's gonna be killer. Wait till you see that. Ariella, we got. I love that one, and the Third Eye did a great. There's a bunch of really good ones.
Yeah, look at it.
We left out. Look at that. Oh my God, there's a lot
Isn't
of
that gorgeous.
I love
this. I love this. The blackout cover is amazing.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I signed it in silver. I signed a bunch of them yesterday in silver, and it looks great.
You see, Josh, what I said, silver.
I know. So while you were getting set up, Al had brought up the blackout cover, and the gorgeous. Thought had run through my mind of how much fun it would be to take that and have Tony just freehand something in silver on that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea with that stuff. You should see, I mean, he loves the sketching too. I mean, he's so good at the sketches and the like quick doodles and that stuff.
I mean, I love this black and white variant here. I want that one in 100. It's gorgeous.
He just sent me, I'm not supposed to even, you know what? Because you guys were so patient. Let me show you something that he just sent me.
Exclusive, folks.
Because we sold out, because we sold out, the first issue.
Woo! Great.
They asked him to draw a second cover, and
isn't that beautiful? My God, you weren't joking when he said that. He's just stepping it up, and oh my God, look at the detail. Beautiful.
I love it.
Beautiful,
man.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it just came while I was like, it literally just showed up. So if that's the pencil, it's gorgeous. Yeah, he's killing it. He's having a blast. I mean, I think I was saying, I know when we cut off, like that he and I, like, we circled I came to the book because it was something I wanted to write, because my kids' fear of the dark, my fear of the dark, the way that's tied to a lot of, I feel like, anxiety and depression stuff, where when you feel really bad and you're really in a dark place, it's almost like every one of your fears that you think is, is not rational, all of a sudden they become very real, like monsters trying to attack you. And with this book, I wanted to make a darkness that felt that way. And Tony's been through similar stuff. Like I said, he's got daughters, teenage daughter. He wanted to create a heroine that felt like she was cutting right through the dark, being a beacon of light. So it felt real personal, but then his style is so big and muscular and widescreen that it felt like a perfect book for us to get together on. And when I went to him, I'm like, let's just do a direct market monster. I don't know if I was coming in like all weird robot voice before, but we've been friends since we started on the New 52, and we had to make up this crazy, gross Joker shit where we cut off his face. And that's the stuff you bond over when you're like, do you lobotomize him or cut off his face or dump him in this or that? All right, what are we doing to this legendary character? I have no idea how we're going to survive this.
But, a lot of people must have appreciated it with the Joker overloads lately, So
oh, yeah.
I'll go back to that like, yeah.
I love that. I loved working on that thing. But the fun with this was then saying, look, let's make a book that's like, again, like straight up the middle for the direct market, where it embraces all of our love of, like, big Spielberg summer blockbuster, that, instead of being like, because I love trying new things as a writer. A lot of the books, like I said, I'm doing this year for Best Jacket are things you wouldn't expect from me. This one is more like, I wanted to do something that's everything I love on a Saturday morning cartoon, a big summer blockbuster, big epic Indiana Jones aliens kind of thing, and be like, let's lean in. And instead of telling the book backwards or trying to do some fun, tricks writing wise, art wise that surprise you, let's surprise you just with how good it is, and just be like, boom, we're going straight through, no hand waves, no kind of pyrotechnics, except it's just good, and that was it. So it was trying to do that and just embrace our love of the sincere kind of big over the top monster stuff, just do it well. And that's it. And so the fact that fans showed up as much as they did really means the world to us both. I mean, you never know when they're going to put you out to pasture, be like, oh, we're tired of these guys, tired of this one, you've been around long enough. So I feel very lucky to have had, the day we had when this came out the other day. And we promise, like, my goal is always just to try and give you more than you're giving us for your money's worth, just try and make a book that's bigger more fun, more heart than you expected all the time.
And we appreciate that, because that is why we're fans of you, Scott. You know, you have fun. And you know, I was telling Josh, you know, while we were waiting, that this feels so cinematic. So you saying, you know, blockbuster and all. Suave Javi says you're the GOAT.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, so you know, I was reading it like a movie almost. I know that's not the direction, you know, from what Random Dude was talking about, where that's not something that was intentional. That's not the narrative to push it to big screen, but it has this big screen feel to it, and just the story flow. I love the story flow, because you're not. This is a great first issue for the reason that you don't give us all the answers.
Right.
You know, you open it up. We still don't know. Yeah, we still don't know what happened, what's going on. You know what I mean? What happened between her and you know, not, you know, from a little girl to adulthood, if she, you know, we could call her an adult now. Yeah. But you know, she's grown a lot, and what happened? You know, I can't wait to kind of start seeing all these pieces fit together. You know, and then you introduce someone here. You know, they need some help, and we got somebody else is like, well, I don't think you want to help this guy. But he comes with such a strong presence.
Without spoiling too much, our villain is a character I've been thinking about for a long time, and talking to Tony about this guy, Blacktop Bill, and he's got a whole backstory we're going to explore in the second arc. We're doing like a little arc in between arc 1 and arc 2 that goes back to before the darkness and shows you how scary he was even before all this hit. So he's kind of, again, like he's one of those characters that you've been thinking about in the back of your head for a while, like, I want to create someone who's just darkness on the road and reminds me of those myths of like the devil at the crossroads, and that idea of, you know, what if there was just an evil person driving those roads, driving the truck, you know, and no one could catch him back in the day. And then in this, he's empowered to be even scarier. In this world, he loves this world. And he's like, this is exactly what I live for. And so that character, who's like a walking silhouette just with the teeth, to me was just like, you know, again, just embracing the stuff that my kids love too is part of the fun. You know, I got a son now, he's 4, our oldest is 14, and he's old enough now that he can start to see R-rated stuff with me and enjoy it. And, you know, he's mature enough, you know, I don't show him stuff that's like, you know, out of control, but, you know, like Aliens or like Die Hard, good stuff that's worth worth risking the R rating with my wife getting that. So, you know, like that, I can justify Terminator 2, like that kind of stuff, you know, where you're like, so with this, like the goal was to write something that he could read with me too, where it's like, and what do they like these days? Like Tony's daughter and my kids, they love big over the top stuff they come from manga and anime, and they want to cosplay it, and they want characters to feel like their own. I think some of it is like we're going into a period where superheroes are going to be real exciting again in comics. I think people are kind of burnt on the big superhero stuff on the main screen, not because it was done so well for so long. Yeah. I feel like people are going into smaller things like WandaVision and The Mandalorian, and like small stories that are more, you know, real drilling into the mythology in cool ways. And then stories like The Boys and Watchmen that like deconstruct all of it. But the time of the big over-the-top superhero blockbuster, it's almost like resting for a little while, and then it'll come back in a huge way. And in return, it feels like what they're finding and what people want, because they've been primed on superhero culture for 15, 20 years now in terms of movies and books and everything. Whereas when we were kids, it was like, you know, super geeky shit. Now
we were lucky if we had something.
Right. I like clung to my Secret Wars figures forever because there was like no toys. Right now, you can't get enough. Like they're finding indie books more and more and more, because these kids, I feel like people coming in, they know superheroes, they like them, but they want stuff that's their own. And so even the designs for characters like Blacktop Bill, for Val, for Emery when you see his helmet, for Bailey with the things on her head, like all that was like, how do we make something the kids think is cool and fun and want to dress as and want to get a figure or statue of, and we think it's cool as adults and want to write about, you know? Where's that intersection of like that Stranger Things to the like that perfect kind of in between that we enjoy, you know? Not to be calculated, but to be honest and be like, I love this stuff. Let's have some fun and not worry about if it's, you know, if it's going to sell or not sell, or it's for this one or that one. Just, you know, in terms of what market, just do it, you know, just make it and have fun. So,
well, and the thing that I've noticed, and maybe you've seen this, when we were kids growing up reading comics, a story arc would last 10, 15, 20 issues long. Where now, and maybe it's because of the technology and just the overload of information we get, it's like you have to take this amazing arc and kind of pack it in a little tighter. To be honest, I kind of like that route more because then you don't get that lull in the storytelling.
Well, I think we're becoming more and more conditioned to expect things faster because of streaming and because of just everything is on a faster delivery schedule, where
damn phones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there's the joy. I'm really interested in all this stuff because part of what I want to do at Best Jacket is explore different options that kind of lean into what I think makes each medium good, like for itself. Like, so for example, for a book like one of the books that I'm doing lends itself to serialization really well because it's like these brief, scary chapters. It's not one that's announced yet, right? So we're talking about what about if we do that serially through our, digitally in some way and then release it as a full book, or the idea of doing just what you're saying, where you're looking at each thing and saying, this book is meant to be a fun book you look forward to every month, and it has the story that carries that. And every month I want to give you more of the mystery in that. Other books right now, I think it's like you lean into different sort of elements in the story telling of them so that you can try different things. So like some books are going to come out as one big book. Some books are going to come out every week. Some books, but it's interesting to me that right now, I think, fans are more and more used to different delivery systems. For me, I love going to the comic store every week. I go all the time to my LCS, but the joy of that really is experiential. I go because I like to see the people there. I like to see my same family runs the place. I used to go there before I broke in. So, we've been going there. I've been going there 15 years.
What shop is this?
Fourth World Comics over in Smithtown, New York. So it was run by Glenn and Chris, and then their son Terrence took it over. So we go all the way back. I still remember the day I ran in there, and I was like, "Oh my God, I get to pitch for Marvel!" Because Marvel gave me a chance to pitch for this one shot before DC. So yeah, they've been with me since the very beginning. But like, I love going in there, and it's because of the interaction, And there's a special quality in a comic shop that's like Cheers. It's like your bar. You go to it. It's like your place,
Yeah.
And then
I'm just picturing when you walking in and everybody's like, Scott.
Yeah, no, I'm there with my kids and my mask, and we're all comic fans. But wonderful. So I'm with you. It's interesting. With this book, I wanted to kind of go old school and really make it something that felt like, every arc is leads you to the next arc, and they're complete. Like you can read it and be like, oh, but big cliffhangers at the end. So I want it to be like rolling and rolling and rolling, old school, big fun comics,
And thank you. I want to show a page here because this is a fantastic looking page from the book that kind of gives you a little bit of makes you want to think about the particular world that they're living in, right? And it's a great shot that Tony did. Please cooperate.
It's dark. Technology. No pun intended.
No, look at that. I love that.
It's one of my favorites in the whole book. I love that page.
Yeah, because it's like, what's going on? You got these camps, massive lights, so many questions. Like, what happened? I mean, you get some info.
Yeah, but not the whole idea. We wanted to, part of it is like, as we were writing the book, I told you where it kind of came from. But for me, the more we work on it, the more it's also like, it's about a darkness that separates everybody and makes them all unrecognizable to each other, turns them into monsters. And I think we're living in a moment when we're more isolated from each other than ever because of the pandemic, but also culturally, politically, everything. We all feel like we're in our silos and our bunkers and changing into things that we don't recognize in each other, I think, all the time. And so the art really reflects that. This kind of page, I think, it's people hunkered together in the light with this darkness encroaching everywhere. And all they can do is kind of keep themselves lit however they can. So some people use torches. Some people that have more resources have fancy LED suits. Some people have light bulbs hanging on things. So it's a really alien looking world, but there's still a real humanity to it where you see these people huddled together in these groups and makeshift families,
So I wanted to go back because at the time that I had asked the question, that's when we had a little bit of the technical issues. What was it about Image Comics that really caused you to go, this is who I want to work with?
Oh yeah. Well, Image has been a real home to me since 2014 or whenever we started Witches,
Oh yeah.
And they've always been incredibly generous with the way they do books. I mean, there's no one that's more I think more sort of enthusiastic about creator rights, all that stuff. I mean, you do a book in Image and they take very little. You pay back the production costs. It's essentially a distribution arm. And then, they take a small percentage of foreign rights stuff. But for the most part, the book is fully yours to control. All the sausage making, everything, is you. Mm-hmm. So I've always loved Image for their generosity in that regard, their kind of creative experimentation. And I know I like the people there as well. So this book just felt like it was a kind of a real fit there. And they do a great job now and they're having a boom, which is great to see, with James's Department of Truth. I mean, that book, him and Martin are killing it. I'm so proud of them. Kyle Higgins, Radiant Black over there is just, out of control good. And Donnie crossover with Jeff Shaw. I mean,
that's killing it too.
Yeah, these books, they're just having a moment, and they got the Spawn universe stuff coming in the fall, and so many good books. For me, it's great to see. It's great to see them having a boom again, the way they did back when Saga and
Walking Dead and all that good stuff.
Walking Dead, Saga, and Wicked and Divine and Witches, and we all did. That we were all doing that. And then there was kind of not a lull, but I think, it was doing well. COVID hits, and now boom, again, explosion. So I couldn't be happier over there. I'm really grateful to them. But one of the things about Best Jacket, or the fun of taking a year off from superheroes, was to be able to say, with this label, I don't want it to be embedded in any one publisher. I thought about it. We talked about it, and I thought about doing it all at Image, and there was a moment when I was going to do that, but for me, it really came down to I didn't want to commit all the books to anywhere that I was doing before I spoke to the creators who I was going to do books with. Mm-hmm. Sure, what if they didn't want to work there? What if they wanted to do something different? I felt like, to be nimble, to have an imprint that wasn't committed to any one place. And then secondarily, I wasn't sure that everything would be right for there either. I might want to try other experiments and do things like, digitally release a short story just with a friend, or I might want to try something for, if it's part prose, try it in the book market, or just have, it's like after 10 years of being in one place, like at DC, and then experimenting on the side, I want it to be no place. Like, I want it to be my own place that I could just say, every book is a decision I make with my collaborative creative partners, and say, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Let's figure it out, and how do you feel about this book? What do you think is the best way? What's going to challenge us? What's going to be cool? What's going to be different? Yeah. And to be exciting to it ourselves. So it felt like, there's no place I love more than Image, in terms of, again, like what they do, what they put out, the way they treat people. They've been great. And so me not committing all the books there is in no way like a criticism of them. It's more just wanting the freedom to be able to say, maybe I do something that, at a different place that you wouldn't expect. Maybe I try something. One of my partners might be like, I really want to do this because I love the editor over at IDW, or I love let's do it. Why not? Do that. Just try it out.
And that definitely shows in this book, that I can tell just from what I've read, you had a lot of fun writing this. Tony had a blast doing this artwork. I mean, it just left, each panel is just, I can feel that heart and soul.
Thank you.
In each panel. And so, and I've said multiple times over the course of the pandemic that indie comics has really stepped up. And it was very exciting to see this book come out of it. If I were to look back on everything that's happened as a part of this, to have this be one of those moments is very exciting, especially for indie comics.
I mean, I'm again, like, they have so many good things coming up too that haven't been announced yet, but I know are coming in 2021 into 2022. And we have another book with them too called Chain. Really excited about it. A totally different kind of book. It's like done in a way that I think you wouldn't expect from me, where it's It's with Ariella Cristantina, a great up and coming artist. She did Insects with Marguerite Bennett.
Ooh,
Yeah, she's terrific. She's lives in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we just had a blast working together. She's like, and so the book is about. It has an apocalyptic sort of feel. It imagines that all of a sudden, because of this chemical that was released years ago that we didn't know about, the food chain starts eating towards us in these different ways. And so it's the spooky thing where everything is coming after us in the natural world, layer by layer, every 6 hours, 10 hours. But it takes place in this remote town in Alaska where all of this is just being heard about, and they know that it's coming, but they don't, you know. And so it's like a claustrophobic, almost like a claustrophobic human drama where they have a way of protecting themselves from it. They don't know if they should do it or not. And it's this real like tight kind of almost like zombie farmhouse story. So it's got a lot of beautiful like, vistas and flashbacks and stuff, but I wanted to do something that hit all the monsters, like hit all of the stuff for the whole book. And you're just like locked in this space, this cold, scary space. So different challenges altogether, still, you know, high concept, big fun stuff. But again, like that's what I mean. I want to be able to say, I think this one's right at Image because it shows diversity from storytelling methods from and an art style from Nocterra. And they won't cannibalize each other. You can pick this one up and you won't feel like you're getting a book that's at all similar to this book, but they're both cool and different and they're both personal. Whereas if I had another book that was like Nocterra, I might not do that at Image right away because I don't want to have two books that are, you know, just kind of eating each other in a way. Maybe try it somewhere else. I don't know. That's all. That is speculative. It's more like these are decisions that I haven't had a chance to have for a long time, you know, and having them now this year makes me very excited creatively because it's all about just trying to make the best stuff and find the best homes with people that you're friends with and enjoy working with, you know?
I can imagine. I'm willing to bet you're probably sitting there going, "Ooh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this," and just ideas are just going all over the place. And at the same time, it's like, oh, I gotta kind of reel it back in a little bit and not get overwhelmed.
My editor who works with me on all the stuff is he's the guy that greenlit American Vampire for Vertigo. He was editor-in-chief at Vertigo for years back when they were doing Why the Last Man and all that stuff. And so he stayed in New York when they went out to LA, when DC went out to LA. And we've, you know, he's one of my closest friends. And so the team on this book, it's like Tony, who I'm friends with a long time, Tomeo, who's Tony's friend for 10 years. And
Tomeo, thank you. I did not know how to pronounce that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I murdered it before.
And Darren, the letter, we worked on Batman, a bunch of stuff together, and we became friends. He's a real acrobat when it comes to lettering. And like you're saying, I think the goal here is to be able to find teams that you love working with, two books that, you know, you're passionate about, and have that ability to be nimble and say what's going to fit best where, and where do you want to try things that will challenge you in new and different ways, you know?
How do you research the concepts you write? Because in this one, you know, we have things happening to people and they go through a change. Like, where did you come up with those concepts as to how that works, you know, to make people or whatever that's in the world change?
Well, it's always funny. Like, the research is always fun. I feel like if you like Google must like keep an eye on all of us writers who have like, you know, all of the worst searches in the world where it's like torture, you know, like, how do you dissolve a body? And like when I was on Batman, it was always that stuff where it was like, how long to body decompose? What best way to kill this or that?
Could you imagine the maid looking at his computer, not knowing what he did, and like, oh my God, why is he looking up all this stuff?
That's what I mean. And there was always like some innocent thing at the end where I'd be looking up like where my kid's soccer game was or something after being like, so the search was insane where it was like,
I could only imagine the ads on your social media going.
Right? I know. It's all like serial killer Walmart. But and like you were saying before, Josh, when you were asking about pulling back ideas, I mean, that was the thing I was getting to, is that Will a lot of the time has to just be like, that's for 2022. You know what I mean? That one, save it for 2022. You got too much right now. So the goal is to be able to say in the late spring, early summer, just redo the Best Jacket site in a real way. I have somebody doing it now. Unveil it and have it with the announcement of all the books we're doing in different formats, and be able to say, here's 2021 into 2022. Here's the full list. Here's the full schedule. It's a whole handful of books, and be able to have a hub for all of it. And the research, like you were asking, Al, it's a fun part. My wife's a doctor, so I'm always asking her things where it's like, I'm like, if gamma rays hit like someone's shoulder, and she's just like, that is not my field. Like, I'm not. So, I'll call her, and she's in the emergency room, and I'm like, if Bruce Wayne was sitting, she's like, click, like whatever. But one of the funniest things is doctors and science people all have like comic ideas in the back of their head. Whenever I go to the doctor things with her, they all pitch me their sci-fi stuff. It's so funny. And it's also like they all have questions like that where they're like, how do the monster? And I'm like, well, when it comes to the vampire heart, Mr. Cardiologist, it's a very different thing than the real heart, and I'm like an expert in bullshit comic book science. I have like 10 PhDs in like werewolf, like biology or whatever. But it's always funny because like I love the research, and the goal for me is always to have it be like you can't quite tell where it went off the rails from reality, but it went off somewhere in there. So like, that like the mythology in Nocterra, the way the bodies change is obviously like insane and not real. But where I did it, when it comes to, you get more of an explanation in issue 2 of what might have happened, and it has to do with.
What a tease! Might have.
I know. What might
I don't want to
have
give it away. Even like, I want the characters not to know if it's real or not too. Like, is this really what really happened, or is this just a theory? But this guy proposes a theory that's based on a real theory about there being 9 to 11 different dimensions of material planes, and one of the reasons that gravity is as weak as it is in our solar system, our universe, because one of the big questions is like, how our universe is held together as it's expanding when gravity isn't strong enough to hold it together to the degree that it is being held together, which is where you get like this theory of dark matter and dark energy, which is basically just the X. People are like, there's something called dark matter and dark energy that exerts more gravity on stuff, and that's why we don't fly off into nothing. But there are other theories that are like, what if they're different dimensions? And gravity is one of the few things that moves through all of them. And so there is enough gravity to hold the universe together, but some of it is kind of seeping into these different levels of reality. And therefore, when it gets to us, we don't see as much of it, but it exists out there. And so one of the theories posited is the reason that matter from these universes that we can detect, dark matter and things, passes through our world, but it doesn't interact with us, is because it's from these different material planes. And on those material planes, there might be different kinds of light and dark, okay? So this guy posits a theory that's like, I think that this theory, this algorithm that was made to try and access one of these other planes of light and dark might have been breached. And in doing so, we tried to see a light that might exist, a beautiful light in a different material plane that could be life-giving and divine, and instead we got a darkness that's the opposite, and it came here. And so, for example, when he expresses that theory, that's a real scientific theory up to a point. Is the theory that it's going to change us into like demonic monsters part of it? No, but that's where like the minecart goes off the thing, like in the Indiana jump, and you don't quite see hopefully where it went, because I'm talking in enough like realistic science jargon that you don't see it. So that's the fun. It's like in American Vampire, you're talking all this evolution and this, and then you kind of hope they didn't notice when you switched over to vampires. You know what I mean? Really quick. And so I love research. I mean, I love the idea of creating things that are like 2 clicks removed from reality, but have a basis in real kinds of real material theories in one way or another. I'm not a big fan of like. Well, I'm a fan of watching it, but I'm not a huge fan of just straight fantasy. That's not my genre. I've never tried it. If you've noticed, I'm not a big like straight up magic and thing, and it's not because I don't like reading it. It's more just I'm partial to things that come out of science based stuff, and then that expand. Like I love magic when magic is grounded in the idea of ancient runes and things, language and speed, things that have a basis in history or reality, and it's not just kind of like completely fantasy. So that's where my stuff, like I love that. I love building off that, off history, off evolution, off biology and geology and all that stuff.
Excellent.
I feel like taking a line from Marty McFly is appropriate. That was heavy.
It's just, I'm telling you, my favorite conversations, my wife always gets jealous when we go to these doctor things. By the way, you think they treat us nice at a comic book convention, go to a doctor convention, and you're like, back to life, where you're like, oh my God, like they're in the, like a nice hotel in Vegas, I'm in with that kind of stuff. But you go to these doctor things and they're like, you write comics? Well, they're like, I'm always been curious about how you think the gamma rays affected Bruce, Banner. And you're like, it's a very interesting, thing where it's his cells, you see, or like Superman's solar cells work this way. And they're like, and you're like talking to literally somebody who deals with like solar energy and whatever. And you know what I mean? But you're like, I'm the expert here. You don't know because I made it up. So, you know what I mean? So I'm the expert of my own
out of those
shit
conversations.
Well, that's the point. Is like
geeks. Things happen.
When you're making up create your own books, like no one knows it better than you, so they can argue the real world all they want with you. But you're like, I created it, so no, that's not how blood works.
I am the god of my world.
Exactly. So I should probably hop off pretty soon. My wife will probably have to go in.
Definitely, we're gonna hop off.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you just the last question, right? Because
yeah,
you're doing all this writing.
Anything you want.
Yeah, you're doing all this writing, comic book wise and all. But are you going to do anything that's going to maybe be seen on a small or bigger screen? Do you have any plans to do something along those lines, a project?
Yeah. Well, my love is comics. You're not going to see me disappear to go do screenplay or that stuff.
You better not disappear.
No. That's not. It's my favorite medium. I mean, it's what I wanted to do my whole life, and then I did prose because I wanted to be a comic book artist. And then I wasn't good enough, and I was like, well, I'll write stories like Stephen King and, not be him, but I mean, like, stuff I love, like, I'll write stories like that. And then luckily, when I broke back in, I was like, I'm never leaving this. I love this. But yeah, right now, so the things I'm working on for other things, I'm working on the Witches got bought for TV by Trinity and Amazon. So I'm excited. I'm writing the pilot and I'm writing the first couple episodes. Assuming it might never get made, but it's committed to at least a pilot and some episodes. And I was able to bring in actually James Tynion with me to write the episodes. So we're going to write stuff together, which I'm psyched about. And then I have Undiscovered Country. I'm writing the screenplay for New Republic with Charles. Charles Sewell and I got invited to do it. So we're almost done with our first draft. Really exciting and fun. That movie it's like so bonkers. It's a lot of fun. It's like, people riding mutant buffalo, and I'm like, are they really gonna? And he's like, CGI. They're gonna, I'm like, how are you gonna get buffalo? It's like, just green screen it, So all right, let's do it. Let's go.
Like, how the hell is a buffalo gonna cooperate with us? Come on now.
Exactly. So I was just like, it'll just be a green screen and people with those balls on their head or whatever, and that's it. And then, but so I'm dabbling in it, but my agent, she's always like, well, you have all these other books coming out. What do you want to do? And I'm very clear about it. Like, I'm not looking to be writing all those things. I mean, these were fun projects, and they were things with partners that wanted to try those things. Like Jock wanted to try doing this together. So he's doing art for the concept stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, and so that's fun, but it's not like I have no desire to do it alone. For example, like I don't want to go be writing for screenplay or for TV stuff without my friends writing with me. The whole joy of comics to me, honestly, as corny as it sounds, is that it's collaborative. It's what made me, when I came over from prose, immediately I was like, I'm never going back to that full time because it's just lonely. And
yeah,
I love writing something that I care about and then watching somebody that I respect and admire make it better than I made it. And then the challenge of coming back to it when it's art and making that better because I'm revisiting it with a bigger sense of what it could be. And that process is magic, as corny as it sounds, it is. Like, it's making this organic thing together. So I love it.
Awesome. Okay, Scott, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Folks, look, pick up Nocterra #1. It's available now at your local comic shop. Make sure to follow. I've been throwing that down there. You know, you want to keep up to date on his project and what he's up to. Visit him on Twitter or Instagram at @Snyder1835. All right. Yo, God bless Scott, man. You know, much luck, bro. You know, we're fans for life.
I'll come back anytime, man. Like, let's do it again. Issue 2, issue 3, whatever you want.
Let's do it, man.
I will not pull in from a parking lot somewhere. I will be here.
It's that McDonald's Wi-Fi sucks. We know. We all know.
I know.
All right. So with that,
all right,
folks,
guys, take care.
Scott, have a blessed day, man. Thank you. Josh, that was awesome. Scott Snyder is, like Suave said, the GOAT. He really is.
He is,
you know, so folks, for real, pick up that book. I'm going to just show off just a couple covers before we leave again, just to entice you, because you guys got to understand these things is just far. Look at this again.
I know.
Look. This black cover, like that silver. You know, come on, yo. So visit your shop, pick up your favorite cover, or go online and look for your favorite cover. But they're there. And with that, I'm Al Mega. With who?
The Random Dude Josh.
And where can they find you?
I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at The Random Dude Josh. Just Google. They all come up every time.
And what's the next show that we're going to see you on, and with whom?
The next show I'll be on will be the Definitive Crusade.
That's out next Wednesday.
Yep, on the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. We've also got the new show, the Jank Think Tank. For those of you who are fans of Magic the Gathering, we have partnered up with a game night from the popular Command Zone podcast. So he has joined us, Matthew Osborne, coming up with some janky decks, some janky combos, and some budget deck techs as well. So if that's your thing, check it out.
If that's your jam, definitely take a look, because the Random Dude is the boss. He wants to teach me how to play just so he could beat me. Yes, that's what he does.
I mean, yes. Yes.
All right, my brother. You have a great day. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the love, yo. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Where, papa, que tú sepas, Al Mega. ComicCrusaders.com.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.ComicCrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites in the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.